Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Derek from Strive. Today we're going to go over some things that you can do during challenges or just living your lifestyle throughout the year on that's going to get you success. See, because about 85% of the population will end up losing weight and being successful to lose weight during their lifetime, whether it's 10 pounds, 5 pounds, anything like that. But about 95% of them will put it back on within 3 years. A lot of times it's almost immediately. And even more so, they actually increase the amount of pounds. So if they lost 20 pounds, they'll end up putting 30 back on. And so the question is, how can we end up becoming that 5%? That 5% that keeps it off long term, and they just keep on getting to more and more goals. Usually the more like leaner look, stuff like that. And there are 8 of them that I end up putting up here. There are more. These are the more typical ones. All right. So a couple of them are relatively easier. They're the no-duh ones, but they're still need to be up there. Okay. First one is cognitive restraint, basically sacrifice. Okay. If I'm constantly going out to the bar or anything like that, eating like McDonald's, all this other stuff, in order to get results, you have to sacrifice something, roughly. Okay, it can be something big, can be something small, anything like that. There has to be some sort of restraint of what you're doing at that point. Self-monitoring. This is sort of a one that people don't really think about because they think that the scale is bad. There's always that mantra. We tend to say that as well here. And while it is true that you don't want to depend on the scale, and that's what like some people fall off on, is they're 100% a slave to the scale. They're always, their attitude towards the day completely depends on what the number says. In reality, you have to realize that the number is going to always fluctuate. So it's just a tool. It's just a way to assess. It's a piece of information that's going to get you to your results. If that's the way you go about it, it becomes great at just seeing it. But after we get results, the self-monitoring helps just because you know your weight. Because say you go on vacation or you take the summer off and you do not weigh yourself whatsoever, and you just go balls to the wall and stuff like that, and just go nuts. Well, you don't really notice that you're gaining 10 pounds, okay? Because you don't notice it unless you're actually seeing that number. Because you won't. That's how people gain 30 pounds without even knowing. Just because you are not realizing it. So if you look at your weight and all of a sudden it starts creeping up, a lot of times it's, okay, I have to tone myself down during that time. And so it keeps you honest, pretty much. Exercise, again, that is no duh. A lot of times, building the muscle, just creating a different caloric imbalance, stuff like that. That's what ends up helping out. We exercise, it doesn't matter what you end up doing. Obviously, here we do the strength training as well as cardio. Most people do not do the strength training, so we want to make sure that we are doing that as well. Process, not outcome. People that are successful look at those small positive things. I can do this now and I couldn't do that last week, as opposed to, losing 10 pounds in 1 month and then the next month losing 5 and wondering, oh, woe is me, what did I do wrong? Okay. Instead, it needs to be, awesome, I lost 15 pounds, I'm that much closer to my outcome. Okay. So we're looking at the process, those small little goals that you're achieving to get you to that big outcome. People that end up failing, they just think about I want this. Okay. But you don't know what it takes to get there. Okay. They just know that they want that. Okay, and people end up failing because they don't see all those positive things that are happening. Structured flexibility. You do need to have a plan. Okay, people that don't have a plan, it's pure chaos. Okay, then usually the excuse is, I don't have enough time. All right, we need to have that plan, but it needs to be individualized as well. Okay, and you need to be able to know, to be flexible every once in a while, so you can live live your life. Okay, structure is very, very important to get that diet, but we also need to know that we can go out to eat with our friends or our family or stuff like that. Okay, that's why we never really give out rigid meal plans, just because when you get off of that, you have no idea what to do and you're just going to gain it all back. Okay, it's going from 0 to 60. Instead, there has to be that little gray area instead of the black and white. Support. This obviously is usually an easy one to figure out. Obviously, the more supportive we are, it ends up being good. Okay, we can keep on going. However, there's different types of support. Okay, compliments, not criticisms. Okay, so instead of finding people around you of, oh, you need to do this diet, you're doing this wrong, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. Instead, it's awesome. You look like you're doing a great job. Keep on going. That's why we talk about bright spots as well as roadblocks. Okay, because the smallest little thing will keep you going, motivated, as opposed to saying you're doing this wrong. So we want to find people that compliment us, but also criticize us a little bit so we can keep on going. But the compliments are huge for the support. Again, we need to have a nutrition strategy. This is, again, another one that's relatively easy to figure out. It doesn't matter what it is. Here we count macros, but some people end up doing keto, which again can easily be macros. Paleo diet, low carb, high carb. It doesn't really matter. You need to have some sort of strategy. Again, that sort of goes along with the structured flexibility. Are we having a plan? And then the last one is mindful eating. This is usually the last one that comes, okay? Because once you start going through these nutrition strategies, at the end, the overall goal is you know how to do that without actually being on a plan and being strict for yourself. And that sort of goes along with our nutrition checks and balances. I can have this cupcake because I want it, okay? People that are not mindful eaters, or they don't have control, they have that cupcake and then they feel really, really negative, and then their entire day is completely messed up. Okay, so it's just a massive snowball of negativity. Instead, you can have that ice cream. You can have that cupcake, but something else has to be checked. I'm going to have this this appetizer at dinner, but I'm not going to have that fried food. I'm not going to have the bread bowl, right? Because something else has to get checked if I have that, because I want that. Okay, something else has to come around, and that's becoming mindful. You know what you're putting in your body, okay, and you know what it's going to end up in taking, okay, because you want it. Right? If you're mindful, if you know the checks and balances, you start living your life and realizing that there are going to come consequences, but it's okay. If you want the great results, you have to limit that stuff. But again, you have that control. All right. Anyway, there are more, obviously. The key point is most people do not do this stuff. All right. So this is really, really, really putting control into your hands instead of all that negativity around there. All right. So this is one of the things we want to try to do during our challenges or just living our life here at Strive Fitness. If you have any help or if you have any questions or like that, feel free to text message me, direct message me on Facebook, anything like that, and we can end up getting you started through your process if you are struggling with some of this stuff.